Evelyn was 71 years old when she realized the silence in her house was louder than any argument she had ever survived. The kind of silence that settles into walls and breathes with you at night. She lived alone in a small town in Pennsylvania, where winters were long and memories longer. She had raised 3 children in this house, loved one man deeply, and buried him too early. Now, every room carried echoes of footsteps that never returned. She woke each morning before dawn, not because she wanted to, but because her body remembered responsibility, even when there was none left. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the pale light leaking through the curtains, wondering how so many years could pass and still feel unfinished. She pressed her feet to the cold floor and whispered, "Another day," like a promise she was not sure she could keep. In the kitchen, she brewed coffee and watched steam rise like fragile hope. She drank slowly, standing by the window, where she once watched her children wait for the school bus. She could still see them there, laughing, fighting, pushing each other with life ahead of them. All of them gone now, scattered across states and choices and silence. Phone calls became holidays, then no worries, then nothing. Evelyn did not blame them. She told herself that often. But some nights, when loneliness pressed heavy against her chest, she allowed herself to feel forgotten, not unloved, but unseen, which somehow hurt more. She spent her days walking to the library, volunteering when she could, smiling politely at strangers who did not know her story. She had learned that most people were too busy surviving their own lives to notice quiet women with tired eyes. One afternoon, while walking home, she noticed a young boy sitting alone on the curb outside her house. He looked lost, not crying, just waiting. She approached carefully and asked if he was all right. He said his name was Noah and his mother was late again. Evelyn felt something open inside her, something familiar and aching. She invited him inside, gave him a sandwich, and listened as he spoke about school and cartoons and waiting. When his mother arrived, breathless and apologetic, Evelyn smiled and said it was all right, come back any time. And Noah did, many times after that day. He sat at her table, did homework, laughed, filled the rooms with sound. Evelyn did not realize how much she needed that sound until it stayed. Seasons changed quietly, summer into fall, leaves gathered at her door, and Noah grew taller. His mother worked 2 jobs, exhaustion written across her face. Evelyn helped without asking, cooked meals, watched over him, became something between family and fate. One evening, as snow fell softly, Noah asked Evelyn why she lived alone. She answered honestly, because life sometimes takes people away before you are ready. He nodded, like he understood more than he should. As winter deepened, Evelyn felt her strength weaken, not illness, just age settling in. She moved slower, rested more, but her heart felt awake for the first time in years. She mattered again. She began writing letters, not to send, but to remember, her children, her husband, herself. She wrote about mistakes, forgiveness, love that never stopped waiting. The night she slipped on the stairs, Noah found her lying still, breathing shallow. He held her hand until help arrived, whispering, "Stay with me, please." In the hospital, Evelyn opened her eyes and saw him there, fear in his eyes, and she knew something with absolute clarity. Love does not always arrive the way you expect it. Sometimes it comes back when you are ready to see it. This is only the beginning. Evelyn woke to the steady hum of hospital machines and the faint smell of disinfectant. Light filtered through the blinds, painting thin stripes across the wall. She turned her head slowly and saw Noah asleep in the chair beside her bed, his small hands folded like he was guarding something precious. Her throat tightened, and she reached for him. He stirred instantly and smiled with relief when he saw her eyes open. "You scared me," he said, and she answered, "I am still here," and meant more than her body. The doctors spoke gently about bruises and rest and time. Noah's mother thanked Evelyn over and over with tears she did not hide. Evelyn only nodded, feeling the truth settle in. She had become important again, not as a memory, not as an obligation, but as a presence. When she returned home, the house felt different, lighter, as if it had been waiting too. Noah came by every afternoon after school, doing homework at the table, asking questions about her childhood, about the old photographs, about the man in uniform who smiled from the frame. Evelyn told him stories she had not told in years, stories that warmed her voice and loosened the knots inside her chest. Spring arrived quietly, with rain and green shoots pushing through the soil. Evelyn planted tomatoes with Noah, laughing when dirt smudged his cheeks. Neighbors stopped to talk, curious about the change in the old house, the laughter, the light. Evelyn waved them over, shared stories, shared bread, shared the simple act of being seen. One evening, Noah's mother sat at the table long after he went to bed. She spoke about fear, about failing, about how hard it was to do everything alone. Evelyn listened the way she always had, with patience and warmth, and said, "You do not have to do it alone tonight." The words felt like a bridge forming between lives that had been drifting too long. Time moved forward, steady and kind. Noah's birthday came, and Evelyn baked a cake with candles. He wished quietly and hugged her tight, calling her Grandma without asking permission. The words settled into her bones and stayed. Her own children called that week, one after another, voices older, hesitant, but sincere. They spoke longer than usual, asked about her life, listened when she spoke. Evelyn did not demand more. She accepted what came, knowing love grows best without force. As summer deepened, Evelyn's strength faded some days. She rested more, watched from the porch, listening to cicadas. She was not afraid. She felt complete. She had given and received, and that was enough. One night, under a sky full of stars, Noah asked if she was happy. Evelyn thought of the years of waiting, the quiet mornings, the sudden joy, the unexpected family, and she answered, "Yes, I am happy now." She slept peacefully that night, dreams full of laughter and gardens and hands held without fear. And life continued gently, carrying her forward. Evelyn woke later than usual, sunlight already warm on her face, and for a moment she forgot her age, forgot the ache in her joints, forgot the long road behind her. She heard Noah laughing outside, and the sound pulled her gently into the day. She dressed slowly and stepped onto the porch where he was chasing a butterfly across the yard. He stopped when he saw her and ran over, hugging her waist like it was the most natural thing in the world. They spent the morning together, watering plants, talking about school, about dreams. Noah said he wanted to be brave when he grew up. Evelyn told him bravery was not loud or fast. It was staying when things were hard. He nodded like he would remember forever. Days began to blur softly into one another. Evelyn's health wavered. Some afternoons she needed to rest. Others she felt strong enough to bake, cook, and tell stories. She never knew which version of herself would wake up, but she accepted each one with grace. One afternoon, her eldest daughter called, her voice unsure at first, then steadier as they spoke about childhood, about misunderstandings, about years lost. Evelyn listened and forgave without ceremony. Love returned quietly, without apology, and it felt enough. As fall returned, the maple tree outside her window turned red and gold. Evelyn sat beneath it with Noah wrapped in a blanket, telling him stories about his grandmother and the way life bends but does not break. She felt tired but full. One evening, she wrote one final letter. She did not cry. She simply wrote about love, about choosing kindness, about finding family in unexpected places. She placed it in the drawer with the others and closed it gently. That night, Evelyn passed peacefully in her sleep, the house quiet but not empty. Noah's mother found her the next morning, holding the letter against her chest. The town gathered again, this time with understanding. They spoke her name with warmth. Noah stood tall, holding a small flower, and when he placed it by the tree, he whispered, "Thank you." Life moved forward as it always does, but Evelyn remained in every shared meal, every open door, every moment of quiet kindness. And her story continued in the lives she touched. If this story reached you, if it reminded you of someone waiting, someone loving, someone hoping, then carry it forward, share it, and stay with us for more stories that heal and remind us that even the quietest lives can leave the deepest echoes. The river kept moving the same way it always had, but something felt different that morning. Noah stood beneath the maple tree, holding Evelyn's last letter, the paper soft from being touched so many times. He read her words slowly, even though he already knew them by heart. She wrote that love does not disappear, it changes shape, that family is sometimes found and not born, that the greatest legacy is kindness given freely. He folded the letter carefully and placed it back against his heart. Then he looked at the house, at the open windows, at the porch where she once sat watching the world with quiet patience, and he understood that she was still there, not as a memory fading, but as a presence guiding. Years later, Noah returned as a grown man with children of his own. He told them about the woman who taught him how to stay, how to listen, how to love without expecting anything in return. He planted another tree beside the old one, and the two grew together, roots intertwined, strong and steady. And if you are listening to this story right now, remember this. Somewhere, someone needs the love you think you have lost. Somewhere, a quiet life is waiting to matter. It is never too late to come home, to care, to forgive, to stay. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone you miss or someone you still need to call, then like this story, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more emotional stories that stay with you long after the words end.